Searchley's here and from Rochester, Minnesota, and Jim has always told me the good and the bad and exactly the way it is, always with the intention that it was what was the best for the veteran, and I take that very seriously. I don't think you can overestimate what it means. I can't imagine if I saw these seats empty, that voice would not be filled. And at a time when less than 10% of America is veterans, people care. They don't care, but they need to understand the story. They need to hear the story that the commander did. We need to hear your personal story and to make a difference. But I hope what you see out there is a unified group of folks trying to do what's right, not what you usually see on TV, a red and blue map, where folks arguing with asinine, petty arguments against one another. It doesn't happen here. There's a respect that goes, and I know every one of my colleagues up here, no matter where they're sitting, cares deeply about delivering on this. And that's where our strength lies, the potential to get this right. And it is challenging. You've heard it. It's not for lack of will. I can certainly want to get this right. There's over 40,000 nonprofits that are created to deliver care for veterans. We just have to be smarter about it. We have to align research. We have to get this right. And that's going to be uncomfortable at times. It's going to break traditional boundaries that people have. It's going to upset some people because it's something new. And I'm not advocating for change for the sake of change. I'm advocating for change for delivery, smarter, more efficient, and more cost-effective for veterans. And I think we need to recognize those things are out there. We can do this. We can learn. I represent a part of the that has the Mayo Clinic in it. And Mayo Clinic delivers high-quality care. But Mayo Clinic will tell you, if you want great quality cardiac care, go to the Minneapolis Public Trauma Center. They're the best in the world at delivering something. There's the best parts of both systems. And I think what you're laying out, Commander, your team is laying out some guiding principles that must be part of that conversation. But we need to lay aside some of our long-held ideology to get to the heart of this, because we know we can do better. And for that, I'm grateful you're here. I think there's every reason to believe we can get that right. And you heard Senator Dahl, you heard Chairman Miller led the effort. It's been a year ago that he did the Clay Hunt Act. You heard Mr. Zeldin talk about exactly right, using peer-to-peer, some of the things out of that. The Clay Hunt Act was our first attempt. It was the starting point for this issue on veteran suicide. But what we know is that suicide is going private sector too. We're here to do what's right for the whole country. We're here to do what's right, and we can have an impact on the research and the delivery of mental health care in the civilian sector too. And that's a noble cause. It makes sense, and it's the right thing to do. And it saves our citizens and saves us money. So you're advocating for the right thing, and they don't know political boundaries. I want to get on two things, though, that I think you heard. I too commend you on this issue of caregivers. This is an overlooked area. It's critical. We all know this. I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, but as I often say, if the choir needs to sing louder, we need to get this right. We have a great champion advocating for this in former Senator Elisa Dole. Her foundation is pushing for this issue. Now is our time to get this right. Separating the veterans from their family is a huge mistake. It is going to diminish care. It's going to diminish the role of what we're trying to do, and we need to somehow make sure we're following your lead, Commander. And the last thing I would mention and ask on this is we'll talk to bigger issues, but some of the things that come at us from day to day, I'm disappointed and I want to know, and I know this result again, I'll mention we work together, toxic wounds and the we allow the act to expire, and I think the Secretary tells me he has all the tools necessary to deliver on that. I don't think we know everything that yet we've got to go. I don't think we know the health implications both for this generation and the next generation that's coming behind us. We need to get that piece right. So I look forward to working with you and advocating. We need to, it's not an engineering act. We need a new toxic wound act that takes us in and understands the damage that we sometimes see from our service may not manifest itself for decades down the road, and we have a responsibility to be prepared for that. So, what I would leave you with is there would be no reason why you should expect anything less than excellence. And I often say this too. If we leave one person behind or deny one person benefits or leave one person sleeping, one veteran sleeping on the streets, we can do better than that. We may never reach that goal, but we have to hold that at the ideal. So thank you for being here. You have to be here. You will great credibility to continue to hold us and the American people accountable to deliver. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Waltz. Representative Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to introduce Don Samuels, who's our state advocate in Tennessee, and here. Please stand or wave your hand and be recognized. Commander, thank you for leading this great group, and if you were for a baseball player, 500 would be pretty good. Air Force, Army, I'm an Army guy, so you got I appreciate what you do more than you know. I have been, this is my 8th year in the Congress. I've been on the Veterans Affairs Committee since I've been here. It's a privilege to represent this room full of disabled veterans. I'm going to go straight to a couple things. One, I'll talk if there are any Korean War veterans out there. I had the privilege of serving. I didn't think it was a privilege then, but in 1973, I had the opportunity to serve in Korea. And when I went there in 1960, that was the fourth poorest economy in the world. And it was a country digging out of a terrible war that leveled that country. I had the privilege of serving in 1973 as a young Army officer just south of the DMZ in the 2nd Infantry Division. I had the privilege of going back 2 years ago. What did I see? I saw 50 million free people because of what you guys did. 50 million free people. And the 10th largest economy in the world, and the Korean people told me when I visited with their leadership to thank you. So I'm here to thank you, the veterans, for I want to start and kind of drill down to Mr. Augustine what you were saying. I'm going to take one of the challenges that I had being a private practice doctor, an Army doctor, and working at a VA. I think one of the simplest things in the world you can do is make a veteran appointment. Last night I had a town hall in Rogersville, Tennessee. The very first person I met was a disabled veteran who had had 4 calls from Tri-West to try to get a cardiology appointment. He's been working 2 months on this. That is beyond ridiculous. And I can tell you, the simplest thing I did as a doctor was take a piece of paper when I saw a patient walking out to my desk and said, make an appointment and see Dr. Jones, and we'll do it next week or the week after. If there's a problem, I picked it up and called Dr. Jones and said, you need to see this patient now. It ain't hard to do. The VA has made this as hard as putting up. I think you hit the nail right on the head. When you ask someone from the VA who they work for, they say, I work for the VA. The answer should be, I work for the veteran. I certainly understood when I was in private practice. I did not work for the insurance company or the hospital. I worked for the patient. That's who employed me. And that decision, you just said, the decision making should be between the patient and the doctor. That's who should be making it. And I agree with you 100%. All these 7 programs, that's our fault, having 7 different programs. We're going to try to guide them so there's one program where a veteran can then vote with their feet if they want to. If they can't get their appointment where they want to, why couldn't I be a doctor, a veteran doctor, just off campus? You've got electronic records. Interoperability should not be a problem in the 21st century. So I want to let you expound on that a little bit. I thought you were very, very good at what you just said.
Well, thank you. And, being a veteran and a doctor, you understand veterans' issues. Not all private doctors have that kind of knowledge, unfortunately. And we have to be careful when we send people out into the community to seek private health care, get the authorization of the VA. We want to make sure that those doctors understand the unique population that they're serving at that time and the issues that are involved with a veteran's conditions, because it's not just taking care of that one particular issue. You have to look at the whole veteran, and that's one of the things we love about the VA. Is when you go to the VA, they consider all of your conditions and the whole veteran. And it's not only medical care, as the commander alluded to, you're talking about voc rehab, you're talking about chronic claim for benefits. They take care of the whole veteran. We want to make sure we don't lose that with just pushing people outside the system without having that continuity of care.
So I think you can do that because I think you can put a local network together and not have to go through this ridiculous what we're going through now to make appointments and get people who do understand that. There were 5 veterans in my group, more than willing, and I agree with Senator Isaacson 100%. I've never operated on Republican or Democrat cancer in my life, and I've operated on anything. I've seen Republican or Democrat heart attack. Full disclosure, I have delivered a lot of Republican babies in East Tennessee. I want to go on the Charles Program Commander. I also, Senator Blumenthal said this, something very near and dear to my heart is to have any veteran that's homeless, to me is heartbreaking. Someone who served this country honorably and has no home. We still have tens of thousands of veterans who are homeless. We need to work on like a laser shot. And that Secretary Shinseki made a real effort to try to do away with homeless veterans, and we need to do that. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rose. Now I'd like to recognize the ranking member, Ms. Brown, who has joined us.
Thank you, and I want to thank all of you for your service. Commander McIntosh, I want to particularly, I know they've already said that thank you for your service to the Army and the Air Force and your continued service to disabilities. And I know that Chairman have mentioned that there are people here from Florida, but you haven't heard me say it. Will the people from Florida raise their hand? Let's give them a hand. All right. I'm going to go right to the heart of my question. I was at the Suicide Summit, and I understand that, you know, we've been talking for the longest. 22 veterans per day commit suicide. But only 3 of them are in the VA. And a lot of us want to think that it's the younger veterans. It is not the younger veterans. It's the old veterans that maybe the Vietnam War veteran. But that person is home, alone, isolated. How can we all, because we all need to soldier up and get them in the system, what is it can we do together to identify this veteran and get them signed up to the VA? Because they're not in the system. Only 3.
I would say that one of the most important programs, I don't know if you were here when we talked about the peer-to-peer program, veterans respond and tell us that oftentimes when they're feeling isolated, the only people they feel like could understand what they're going through is another veteran with veteran experience. We've seen the social networking that a lot of veterans still continue to talk to each other that way, and when they're having problems, they're willing to share with each other. That program has been a success. They've integrated those peers into the mental health clinics, into the actual treatment in terms of making sure they can stay in treatment. That's another key. Not just getting them there when there's that crisis, but then maintaining some sort of treatment, because they have a better opportunity for less suicide risk when they are in VA, and have the supportive services around them, whether it's homeless, substance use disorder, PTSD treatment. And when they have all of that supportive services along with a community that understands what they're going through, they have a better opportunity to have more eyes on that veteran. So I think that is going to be the key, and I know VA has been, with their site, really trying to inform and make sure that family members know, friends know, anybody can make that intervention and have that veteran get to the services that they need if they're in a very vulnerable state.
I guess my question is, how can we get that word out into the community? How can we all soldier up and let the community know that we need to get that veteran into the system?
Well, I think VA, with their outreach, they need to do outreach to the community as well. Those providers that really have the experience, because the veteran doesn't land at the VA or is really isolating and ends up somewhere else in the community. Making sure that the private sector or the other partners in the community that might come upon that veteran in homeless shelter or in, somewhere that's not, connected to VA, they have the information of the crisis line. They have the information and a contact, like, a service organization or someone who can help them.
And I have to mention the fastest growing group of veterans is women veterans. And what is most disturbing to me is the number of women veterans that I've seen that's homeless with families. And that is one area that we need to address.
I'd just also like to mention that the DAV takes that